For me, it's been good to get back on, glad to be back home, but, I got a job to do. I mean, it's not time to celebrate that. It's time to get these guys better.
How did you think the scrimmage went for your group?
I thought, guys that the first two groups I felt, and we're doing a lot of rotations. I mean, there's no set depth chart right now, but I thought those first two groups played pretty consistent. We made some plays in the deep part of the field. We made, the biggest thing we look for is, first of all, who plays with great effort, who's going to tackle, we got to have, and then we got to have elite mental execution. You got to have guys that can think. So I felt like, for what we threw at them, we adjusted pretty good, and but we still got a long way to go in camp.
What's it like having a guy like Darren? A lot of the guys have said that, he feels like another coach on the field. Just
Right.
What's it like to coach a kid?
Well,
like that?
first of all, he's a very instinctive player. There's no substitute for experience. And, as a coach, you like having a guy that's been in the heat of the battle, because we're not on the field with them. They're out there communicating, anticipating things that change. So that's been really good. But the thing that impresses me more about him than anything, he does have those experiences, but he comes to work every day very intentional about getting better at little things. And, he told me, he said, Coach, I came here to develop. And, that's my job, is to help him do that.
We saw Caleb and Sylvester Smith rotating at that of the safety spot. What have you seen kind of out of the competition between them two, and just how would you describe it?
Well, we got a few guys. It's Caleb Wooden, you got Sylvester, you got Caleb Harris, you got T. Love. All those guys are competing. It's not just one or two. But I think Caleb Wooden has done a really good job. First of all, he had a great summer. He's come back. He's probably he's in the best shape that I've seen him. He runs very well. He understands the scheme. Sly, same way, had a good summer. Very instinctive player, very physical. Both of those. What I like about the group is they all bring something that's a little bit different. So there's different ways, that as they develop, that they might be able to help the team in certain ways.
Has anybody kind of separated themselves at that spot, or is it still too early?
So on certain days, guys have, and on certain days, others have. And that's what we try to find, is the consistency. Consistency and performance over time. That's gonna be the guys that we have to lean on in critical situations. But as I told them, hey, we have a bunch of guys that are consistent and can play. That's good for us, because it creates depth and it creates opportunities to play a lot more people.
A lot of players have singled out Thompson's leadership.
Yep.
Is that something that comes through day-to-day in practice?
Absolutely. And like I was just saying about JT, he's, there's no substitute for experience. The only way you learn how to play this game is to play. But I think because of his experiences and ups and downs, I think it's he brings a different aspect to the players from a leadership role, and having that guy on the field that's been there and been through those experiences, that helps a lot. And I think the guys respect him a lot.
A couple players on this team you've coached before, Kite at Alabama and Robinson at Colorado. What is what we're getting in those two guys based on what you see?
I think first of all, Jaquez, he wasn't here in the spring, came in the summer, been very deliberate about just improving, working him in a couple of spots. He's played really two spots in his career. He's mainly been a corner and a nickel. We're playing him at the nickel some, but we're also playing him at safety. He's pretty quick learner. For not being here in the spring, he's picked up on some stuff. He's flashed at times, but his biggest thing is he's got to develop consistency too. Antonio, very athletic, really good cover guy, but again, consistency. You got to be consistent every play because we say that in football, and it's not a cliche, but in the secondary, if you're not consistent, it's a touchdown. A guy up front can be inconsistent, and nobody knows it. All right, they mess up in the secondary. I'm gonna hear about it from my daughter like real quick.
You've been around Joe West before. What do you like about his skill set? What is he doing?
He's got really good length. He's instinctive. He's fought some injuries throughout his career, but I think now he understands like taking care of his body, in the off season, not only just the weights and the nutrition, the sleep, all that stuff. So, and I think maturity. He's more mature. He's an older guy now, and maybe some of the things that he didn't pay attention to early, he's probably doing that more now that I see. But he's really worked hard. I think even today watching the film, he flashed a couple times, and the guy was like, wow. That you see flashes of it. It's just developing that. Can you do that on an every down basis?
From a recruiting perspective, right now, in your opinion, why are kids buying it all?
Well, first of all, I think it always starts at the top. I think what Coach Freeze has done here of establishing and letting people know his vision for where Auburn can be and where they should be. I think the culture that he's created here, not only just we're just not a transactional school, we're a transformational school where we help guys, it's not the next 4 years of their life, it's the next 40 years of their life. You want to help those guys transform, but at the same time, to be able to recruit the level of athlete that it takes to win in this conference. I think Coach does an amazing job of painting that vision. But listen, Auburn is a great place. It has great tradition. I was fortunate to be here at a time when we won a lot of football games, a lot of SEC championships. And I've always believed if you can do it once, you can do it twice. You can do it twice, you can do it. But it will always be about the people that you recruit. And I think all of our coaches, too, Coach Freeze has set the vision, but there's total buy-in. There's no outliers. Everybody is bought into that. And when you have an institution like Auburn and the tradition that they've had, the players that have played here, if you show that to players and show that you're committed to the right thing, you'll attract the right one. And listen, everybody's not going to come here. That's okay. Auburn's not made for everybody, but I think that's the main thing is Coach's vision.
Charles, for you specifically, historically you've been regarded as one of the best recruiters in college football. What do you think it is for you, or what do you do well on the trail where you're able to get guys?
Well, first of all, and I appreciate you saying that, but I do believe this. I believe this with my whole heart. I believe recruiting is like raising a child. It takes a village to do it. And I've been very fortunate to be around good people, other good assistant coaches. It's never one coach that recruits a player. It's a whole bunch of guys. And I think probably what I try to do is get those guys that have influence with the players, get them involved as much as possible. And as I mentioned, having a great head coach that sells the vision, that makes things, that makes things everything in recruiting. And you got to work at it every day. Recruiting is something that you never can take a day off. You got to be doing something every day in regards to recruiting, but that is the lifeblood of your program. There's three things we do every day. We evaluate, we recruit, and we develop. That's our job. And, you're constantly doing that every day.
Sylvester redshirted last year, but he's in competition for some playing time this year. What's one of the most important things for a guy who's going to make that kind of jump?
Well, I think redshirting is good in a lot of aspects. It doesn't mean a guy doesn't have ability. It doesn't mean he doesn't have the skill set. Sometimes it's because maybe an excess of guys at a position. But I think what the redshirt year does for a lot of guys, when they come into college football, the game is so fast. But that extra year of maturity helps everything slow back down. And it doesn't matter. Anytime you elevate a level that you're playing at, whether it's from high school to college or college to the NFL, it's getting the speed of the game down. So I think that's one of the things that will probably benefit him more than anything.
You mentioned Terrence too, as somebody in competition there.
Yeah.
What have you seen?
I thought T. Love had a good summer. He's probably weighs the same, but I think he's changed his body. But he moves very well, runs very well. He's a smart guy. He has to work. Yeah, he's smart, understands what to do. He's got to be more of a communicator. Doesn't matter if you know what to do, everybody else has got to know. So we got to, those kinds of things. He has improved his coverage ability. Just because a guy's big doesn't mean he can't cover. I've coached some big guys. They cover really good. I think he's done that. But I go back. It's consistency in those three areas. It's consistency of effort, tackling, and execution. And you got to combine them all.
We saw him get a pick on Saturday. Caleb Harris, how can he help y'all in year one?
Well, first of all, Caleb is very competitive, very smart, very instinctive, learns very well, picks things up, comes out of a great program, which as a lot of our players do. He's been exposed to a lot of stuff in high school, not the exact same thing that we do on defense, but similar concepts. But he's got very good eyes. He reacts. Your eyes tell your body what to do. I think again, just making sure he understands what it takes to play consistently, in this league. That's going to be the thing that does it. But I'm excited about what I've seen so far, and he's competing very well.
What have you seen from McKinley Faustin?
I'll tell you, that just goes to show you, I don't know where he ranked in recruiting or whatever, but I mean, this kid has great change of direction, great lateral movement. He's tough. We've played him a lot at the nickel spot. He's good in the slot. He's had some ups and downs, and again, I go back to these guys. It's just the consistency of, you can't afford to, have a bust or have a lack of effort on a play. Not in this league. People are too good. But I do think he competes every day. He's very coachable, as well as Caleb Harris. They spend a lot of time. They listen. They take the coaching, and if he keeps doing that, I think he's got a chance to be a really good player.